60 Minutes, man, have they had a rough year. Remember Lara Logan? She had to take a little leave of absence because of a piece that she did about Benghazi, where one of her key sources ended up lying. Now 60 Minutes, and it was actually, I meant to mention this on the podcast last week, and I just didn't get around to it. 60 Minutes did a really good piece.
I thought it was awesome.
About Tesla last week.
What a great piece.
And Elon Musk his story is incredible. They were talking about how he had zero money. They were bankrupt 4 or 5 years ago.
Not only that, he owed money.
Yeah.
He was below zero. He'd love to have been up to zero.
And now he's like one of the richest men in the world.
There's a point in his life where he had to go all in or get out. And he put his last, whatever it was, 20 or 40 million. Now, people say, well, at least he had 20 or 40 million. Yeah, but you try writing your last dime out of your checking account knowing that you were rich at one point, and at this point, you're broke.
It doesn't matter if it's $100 or $20 million. If you're writing your last check. And you don't have a salary next week. I mean, this guy went all in. And the fact that you can start up a spaceship company and make money, I mean, that's something out of Wile E. Coyote. And Tesla,
that's not possible.
Tesla has become the number one car in the world. I mean, it is sweeping
it
rankings.
Apparently is the greatest car ever made. And I'm not exaggerating. This by Consumer Reports, they've never had a car rated this high.
And it's not just Consumer Reports. Every single car magazine or internet site has ranked this car as number one.
The guy says, I only do things to change the world. You know what's great about this? He's only 42.
Right.
I hope that guy lives to be 180.
He's younger than us.
Yeah.
Scary.
And he's done a lot more than we have. Good
anyway,
grief. So what's wrong with me and you?
I don't know. God. Tesla.
We've done nothing.
The problem with the Tesla.
We have a great podcast.
Yeah, we do. And a JBL and Cole show. And we do WWE matches on Mondays and Fridays.
So we don't do that
National
much.
TV. No, not at all. The thing about Tesla, though, one of the reasons it receives such high ranks is it's such a quiet vehicle. They said when you're inside the vehicle, you wouldn't even realize that it's going down the road.
It's a little unnerving being an electric car for the first time.
Right.
You pull up to a red light, there's no sound. And you think the car's off.
Exactly. So with all that being said, apparently during the editing of this piece, one of the audio engineers at CBS added some actual automobile motor noise to the Tesla. So as you're watching the Tesla drive, it actually sounds like a normal engine.
Apparently, it's fast and smoke-free. The Tesla Model S is powered by 7,000 battery cells linked to an electric motor. No engine, no transmission, no tailpipe.
And people got upset about this because no matter what you can do, you cannot hear the Tesla's engine. You can't hear it. So they're still trying to figure out, did this guy do this on purpose to give Tesla a bad rap? Was it an honest mistake? Tesla stayed completely out of the fray. They're just waiting to see how this is all going to boil down.
I saw a text from Elon Musk this morning. I mean, this guy, you know, I look, you and I are as big of fans as Elon Musk as he can, but he does not suffer fools. He walked out of a Barron's interview a year ago when the guy just wouldn't listen to him. And I don't blame him. I like Barron's, but the guy just wouldn't listen to him. He walked out. He refuses to talk to Barron's again. This morning, apparently, Bloomberg had an article about him, and he said a lot of just silly factual inaccuracies. For instance, I don't have breakfast and coffee at Tesla. I have juice. You know, just and you know, the guy doesn't suffer fools,
right?
And so, but he didn't get involved in this fray at all. It made him look fantastic. I don't think this is a big deal, and I don't know why people are so upset.
Well, because I think the thing is because it's just journalistic integrity. I mean,
yeah, but people pipe in stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, but why would you pipe? Yeah, but why would you pipe in an engine sound into a car that doesn't make that noise?
Yeah, but how does that change the story?
I don't think it changes the story, but it's just poor journalistic integrity.
I don't know. You pipe
it's
in
like
sounds...
misquoting a source.
No, come on. That's not that bad.
Think about it, John.
No, it's not.
Think about it. Tesla has an engine that you can't hear. When you're driving in that car, it sounds like you're in a vacuum. Then some audio guy comes in and all of a sudden adds a noise to the car. It's falsely representing the product.
That's BS.
It is falsely representing the product. BS. Especially if you do it knowingly.
Now, see, now that's the problem.
But why would you have to add any sort of audio noise to the engine of a Tesla?
Michael, if you're an audio guy, how much audio do we add on WWE? How much audio do we add on
John, that's entertainment. That's not news. That's a silly analogy.
No,
that's entertainment. Not. That's like doing a movie and adding
Wait a minute.
Come on.
Wait a minute. Fox News, when we're covering a story, is not entertainment. It's news. but they call it info.
It's 60 Minutes, by the
They
way.
call it infotainment. I'm talking about when we own Fox.
Oh, okay.
Fox will add, when you do a story, they'll add in a sound bite here or a sound bite there to make something more realistic. Well, everybody does that.
But
Everybody,
you're not making Tesla more realistic. It's you're falsely advertising the product. The car doesn't make a
You're not
noise.
falsely.
And you're wait, the car doesn't make a noise, yet you're going to make the car make a noise.
What time is it? It's noon. This is the dumbest thing I've heard today.
But John, how can you not see this? The car does not make noise. You add a noise to the car, so you're falsely representing that product.
You're saying it's like lying as a journalist. That's not that big a deal.
I think it's a huge deal.
I don't.
Well, I do. That's the way I
You're
feel.
saying it misrepresents the product. You've got some audio guy. Look, I don't think there's. Look, I can't read minds, so I don't know what the guy was thinking.
I don't
but
either.
you got some
It could have
audio
been an
guy.
mistake.
You
I
got some
understand
audio
that.
guy who's sitting there going, "Hey, we need a car noise." He just puts it in. He doesn't think anything about it.
Well, maybe he
That's
should
how-
watch the product.
Oh,
or
my
maybe
goodness.
maybe it's not the audio guy's fault. What about the producer? You think the producer that did all this research should have said something?
You produce a segment. I don't know, 60 Minutes, because my wife's been on 60 Minutes. They spend a massive amount of time putting this stuff together. This is a massive jigsaw puzzle they put together
so that's
for every
why
piece.
something like this should never get
And
by.
something like this is not a big deal. You sit there and you see
Okay.
a car making
If
a
you were-
revving sound.
okay.
It makes sense.
If
It
you
doesn't occur to a normal guy.
Of course it makes sense because that's a normal
It doesn't
car.
occur-
This isn't a normal car.
Oh, give
This
me
is
a break.
Okay, if you were Elon Musk, wouldn't you be upset over the fact that you have a car that doesn't make noise? And that's one of the reasons people buy this car,
Yeah,
because
but
it's a
it's
nice,
not-
beautiful
yeah, but
ride.
you
And
get
then
a-
all of a sudden it sounds like a normal
Oh,
car.
give me a break. You make this guy into the modern day Ben Franklin. At 99.9% of this piece was awesome, and they make one mistake, and you're turning
One
freaking.
mistake. They're a national news organization.
Oh, wait
Lara
a-
Logan made one mistake too when she didn't figure out that her source was lying.
Wait a minute.
I mean, come
Wait
on.
a minute. Let's talk about your buddy over at CNN. When they had John Cena for an interview, and
I agree.
and they asked him a question.
Horrible.
And they asked him a question: do you take steroids? His answer was no.
And they edited it
No.
poorly.
And
I
they
get that.
edited it. No, they did. No, they did not edit in poorly. They made it look like he answered
I know.
it in a different
They
way.
did.
That was
They changed the story.
A lot of talk about steroid use,
Yeah.
drug use. Have you ever used steroids?
Absolutely not. And this is
Even back in bodybuilding days,
this is a-
football days.
this is a crazy question, and it's something that it's tough to answer just because of the way society is now, the way people conceive things, because performance-enhancing drugs have got the spotlight, and it's a hot thing to talk about. Anytime you see any athlete in any athletic venture, it could be the PGA Tour, achieve physical greatness, something that is beyond the norm, even for a top-tier athlete. If top-tier athletes are rushing for 1,000 yards and somebody comes out and starts running people over and rushes for 2,000, it's not athletic achievement anymore, and that's something that really gets me. It's he or she is on performance-enhancing drugs. And it's only because that certain athletes have gotten themselves into certain situations where automatically the finger is pointed at somebody. Oh, they're on performance-enhancing drugs. My answer to that question, have you ever used steroids, is the only thing I can say. I can't tell you that I haven't, but you'll never be able to prove that I have. Because each one of you out there has an opinion on how I carry myself. And I can take 1,000,000 tests. I've been tested for drugs since I've been 17 years old. I can take 1,000,000 tests. I can pass every one of them. As soon as I pass it, there's some other guy on the other end going, oh, there's masking agents, there's this, there's that. I know the arguments because I've been in a situation. This is a subject that's very, very near and dear to me, only because since I was a very small child, I've worked my ass off to get to where I'm at. And it sucks to be able to have to deal with people saying that I rely on a crutch. You know, I wake up every day and I work myself to the bone because I love what I do. I got the best gig in the world. I love it. And it kills me to have to sit here and do this with one arm. Like, I want to be back out there. You hear stories about guys coming home from the war and they're in the infirmary and all they want to do is get back in the field. I want to get back in the field. You know, it's killing me. But to have to deal with the popularity of a substance that enhances performance it's tough to take. I take great pride in the fact that I have a God-given gift of above average natural strength, and I show it off whenever I can, because to me that's fun, that's entertaining, it's what I love to do.
John Cena is a WWE superstar, now recovering from an injury in the ring. He doesn't like being asked if he has used steroids.
The This is a crazy question, and it's something that it's tough to answer just because of the way society is now, the way people conceive things, because performance-enhancing drugs have got the spotlight, and it's a hot thing to talk about. I can't tell you that I haven't, but you'll never be able to prove that I haven't.
Wait, that was
they changed the story.
That was as dishonest.
They changed the story
and misrepresentation. That was a freaking that was a crime.
They changed the story,
in my opinion.
I agree with you.
That was terrible.
I'm not
what they did to
that.
him. They did that to make him look bad and make the industry look bad. I mean, if I'm John Cena, I'm thinking about. I'd be thinking about suing him at that point. That was horrible what they did to him.
Okay, so then Tesla should sue
That was
these
horrible
guys.
what they did to him at that point. This is a 99.9% good piece
John.
about these guys, and they make a mistake.
I'm not arguing that.
They make a
but you
mistake.
can't
This
make
is
a
not
mistake
malicious.
at that level. You don't know if it was malicious. How do you know that?
Oh, come on.
They don't know if it was or it wasn't.
Come on.
They haven't figured it out. They're investigating
They
it.
add a motor noise to a car that doesn't have a motor. And all of a sudden, what's that going to do? Sink the car industry?
Then if you go edit a Western movie and add a motor noise to a horse and buggy ride, I mean, think about it. That's what you're doing here.
Well, okay,
Tesla doesn't have a motor noise.
That's not true. That's apples and oranges. You add a horse sound to a horse that doesn't make sound. That's a freaking analogy that's the same.
But come on, think about it, John. The product. They sell Tesla because it's an electric car and because it's a comforting ride and because when you're inside, your stereo system sounds great. You can lose yourself in it. Your comfort control doesn't make noise. The engine doesn't make noise. Yet, when you're doing the piece, you add noise to the car. How is that not wrong?
Oh, give me a freaking break. This is ridiculous.
If this was your company, you would be extremely upset about it.
I would be upset about the fact that they added it, but I'm also going to look at the entirety of the piece and go, look, these guys did a phenomenal piece on me. They made Elon Musk look like a saint.
You're talking about a guy, Elon Musk, who was upset because they misrepresented the fact that he drank orange juice instead of coffee and bagel.
He used that as an example as several just silly little inaccuracies they had about him.
Then this is a silly inaccuracy then in the 60 Minutes piece, but it was still wrong.
Silly little audio piece that was put in. People are making a mountain out of a molehill here. The story here is about spaceships going to Mars and about an electric car that could transform the world.
Why does the 60 Minutes just come out and say we're sorry?
We're talking about, they should. They should come out and say, hey, we're sorry. Didn't mean to do it.
Okay.
I have no problem with them coming out and saying it. I'm just saying it's not a big deal. No. Comparing this to what CNN did to John Cena.
But wait a minute, I didn't compare this to that.
You're saying this is misrepresentation. You're saying this is fraud. You're saying
it's misrepresentation
journalistic integrity.
Of the car.
You're saying you're misrepresenting your car.
It's misrepresentation
it could be malicious.
Of the car.
Give me a freaking break. This is not a big deal.
Of the car.
They made a mistake. Yes.
Okay.
60 Minutes comes out and says, hey, we're sorry. Didn't mean to do it.
Okay, then just offer an apology. That's it.
And then you'll be happy with it.
Of course I will. Can we move on to this high-frequency trading thing? Because you will never agree with anything that I say. So high-frequency trading. Tell us about...
Hey, if I agreed with you, we'd both be wrong.
Tell us about the glorious 60 Minutes in high-frequency trading.
Oh, well, now you're going to bash 60 Minutes about everything. I've got their app, by the way. It's great.
Can you talk about the high-frequency trading?
You have been listening to the John Layfield and Michael Cole radio show on webtalkradio.net. Have comments or questions? Reach out to John on Twitter at JC Layfield and Michael at Michael Cole. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.